Yeah. Hey guys, Everyday Aficionados here with another movie review. Today we're taking a look at This Island Earth, which is kind of like a B-movie science fiction film from 1955. Let's get into it.
So whenever you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready. Okay, so the sciencey science guy is doing science things. He's getting... All of a sudden, these parts get shipped to his house. He doesn't know where they're coming from. He builds this thing and talks to aliens. And then he gets on this plane and goes to see the aliens at their facility. There's all these other science people trying to develop like this nuclear power thing to save this aliens planet. And then they're trying to get out of this place because they're trapped there and the aliens are keeping them there. They can't get out. They ended up going to the aliens' planet to save it. And they're being attacked by this like neighboring planet, and they don't know why they're being attacked, but they're getting attacked anyways. And then the alien planet blows up and turns to a sun for some reason. And then they get on the spaceship and go back to Earth. The main alien dies, and everything's happy because it's back to where it was in the beginning, even though nothing really changed. And it's just this movie has no point to it, and science is power and learning and stuff. Science.
You got it. And you even had some time to spare. This is a good one. That's definitely a good one.
I mean, science it's a thing.
Yes, it definitely is a thing, and we'll get into the way this movie treats science later. One of the things I really loved were the characters. The main alien guy. At first, you just think he's this sinister alien mastermind who's manipulating these scientists. It's kind of sketchy. You don't really know why. But then, very quickly, you see him interviewing with his superior, and you realize, oh, he's just a pawn of his government. So he's not just being evil because this movie needed an antagonist. Yeah. He's doing things because he has to for the good of his people. And that's where a lot of the movie's, like, ethical concerns come from. Like, what is acceptable to do when your people and your planet is under threat of extinction? The thought transformation scene, where this alien guy doesn't want to use it, but he says at first it's for a practical thing because it removes their initiative and the scientists become less good at their work. But later on you kind of realize he's more humane and that he actually cares about humans and wants to live in harmony with them.
One of the highlights for me, the visual appeal, and there's really three big scenes. The one where they're at the airport and there's just like completely covered with fog, and it's just really like kind of like eerie, and it conveys this really like mysterious tone. Like you don't know like where they're going or what they're gonna see. Another one of the scenes that stands out to me would be the part where they're actually landing on the alien planet. There's just some really nice like matte paintings in the background. You've got like these craters with like fog and mist coming out of them. The third thing that really stands out is just like the space scenes with like the stars. It has a really cool sort of like depth thing going on with it where you can like see stars in like the foreground and in the background. And one last thing about the visuals, I think the Technicolor looks really nice in this. The colors really pop. Everything's really vibrant.
It reminded me a lot actually of Willy Wonka, which came out in the 70s. And that's not just because there are aliens with big foreheads and orange skin. Another thing that this movie really pulled off well was the mystery. Slowly, all of these mysterious elements build. You know, this scientist has sent these parts that are hundreds of years beyond our technological capacity, or at least decades. And you're wondering, is this some secret organization on Earth? Why do they have these parts? And why are they sending them to this scientist? Or when he builds the Skype machine, the ye olde Skype, where he can talk to the guy. And he has this weird shaped forehead, but again, you don't know if he's an alien or if it's a mutation or whatever. The movie allows the mystery to linger for a long time, which I really enjoyed. Although it does resolve itself too quickly once it does start.
Yeah.
Once things do start becoming clear, it's just one after another, and the mystery's all gone.
Okay, so another highlight for me would be the music. It makes the film feel like more epic than it actually is. Like, it even starts off in the beginning. It's just got this really epic music before anything even happens. And it's just like, boom, Washington, D.C., epicness.
Yeah, and then you see, like, just this scientist getting interviewed by people, and this epic music just leads up to this moment.
Horns and triumph for this scientist, because science. Lastly, like we talked about earlier, the mutants. They're only in the film for a very little amount of time, though. I wish they got some more screen time, and I wish that we could have seen, like, multiple at a time. They're really cheesy, but in a good way, and this is what you come to see a film like this for.
I really dislike the pseudoscientific babble. You just get the sense that this was written by people who didn't care. At least try to make it sound convincing and not like you're just throwing in big words to impress people and confuse the viewers. Or just leave it in the background and make everything implied. Don't have your characters spouting off this bullcrap to reporters who are like, "What's that now? I don't understand what you're talking about, but I trust you, Mr. Heroic Scientist."
And another low light for me would be the sexism in this film. The woman character is not very well developed. It starts off on the right foot. She goes from being this semi-strong scientist to this, like, questioner and scared woman that needs to be protected. She questions everything towards the end of the film. The main woman character constantly gets called a sissy by this guy for ridiculous reasons. The guy in the beginning is saying that if they developed this technology that would take away housework, his wife would gain 20 pounds.
Yes, because women have no other reason to live than to vacuum floors. The whole idea of the decompression chamber doesn't make any sense. They say the pressure is too much on their planet, but yet they get decompressed while they're in the ship. And the alien also dies from the pressure on Earth, but it dies in the ship. And what pressure are they talking about? Air pressure? Air pressure wouldn't affect them until they were in the atmosphere and had opened up the ship and let Earth's air pressure into it.
And they weren't even near Earth yet.
Yeah, they were so far away. You could see Earth was a little speck in their window, and they had to get acclimated or else they would die. And then, of course, you have to talk about the bad acting. It's just terrible. Everyone plays these stock characters. They don't go outside of their personalities at all. Mr. Handsome Heroic Scientist Man, after he almost dies in a plane crash and mysteriously lands, even though he had no control over the plane, he has no idea what happened, and yet he just says, something must have took control over the controls for me. He's just completely calm. It's almost as if the actor is just trying to keep his voice and his demeanor consistent all the time.
None of the characters in this film are really great at showing emotion, and you don't feel any emotion from this film.
Except during the ending with with the alien who kind of gives up his life. But even then, it's not acted very well either. The characters are just stiff. They don't really interact. They don't feel sorry or sad when they leave him.
And, they top off the death of this character by playing more triumphant music.
These people from Metaluna are in this war with these other aliens called, like, the Braxons or something. Apparently, their method of destroying the Metaluna people is by throwing asteroids at them. And what happens is, so many asteroids hit the planet at such a frequency that it creates enough heat to turn their planet into a sun. I don't think that's how suns are created, but I don't know, I'm not a physicist, so...
It kind of, like, makes this whole movie pointless, too. It's just like they get there, they realize that it's too late, and then the planet turns into a sun, and then they go back to Earth, and then everything's back to normal like it was in the beginning of the movie. And it's just like, what was the point of everything?
Yeah, it's kind of existential. You just get this brief window into the existence of another people as they die, and then you just go back to your life as if nothing ever happened.
No one's gonna believe the fact that they went to this alien planet either. All the other people that were even witnesses are dead now also. So they're just gonna be these two crazy people who see aliens and go into this alien planet.
And that's the thing, if the movie actually was interested in those ideas, it would be really cool.
Mhm.
But it's really apparent that the movie isn't. And it kind of brings up a lot of interesting things and then just drops them and doesn't develop them at all. For example, the tension between the president of these people and their scientist guy who's more humane. As soon as this tension gets brought up when they're on the planet, literally 2 minutes later, the president dies. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess we don't need to solve that problem. And then we just go on with the movie. And that just happens with all these other things, too.
I think it's a pretty good science fiction film. It has a lot of weak spots. It's definitely worth a watch if you're a science fiction fan, if you love alien movies. I would say that it's actually probably one of the better alien films from that era. It has a really nice, polished type of feel to it. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fun movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. It doesn't drag on too long, although that does lead to it leaving things sort of unresolved or resolving them too quickly. It's different from any other science fiction film I'd seen. Even up until the halfway point, I still didn't know exactly where the film was going to go. It's definitely a surprising film. I didn't expect it to just end where it ended either. I give it props for being a kind of quirky, weird science fiction film.
So, as for a rating, we're going to give this one 2 vintage Skype calls out of 5.
It's definitely not like in the ranks of the great science fiction films or in the annals of cinema, but it's great for what it is.
So, that's going to wrap up our This Island Earth review, but tune in next time when we take a look at It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Thanks for watching.
Everyday Aficionados. See you next time. Gotta change my batteries. Whoopsie daisy. See, that wasn't hard.